Hi, everyone. Welcome to Relatively Sane. It's Jessica Kirson. I am so depressed and just forced myself to sound really upbeat so that I can make all of you happy, even though I'm suffering horribly. Because that's really what it's about. It's about making sure that all of you are smiling and having a good day when I'm just... I'm miserable. No, I'm not that miserable. I'm really trying to be grateful. I've said this before a lot, but I think the more grateful you are, the better things get. When I'm getting really down and sad and upset, I remember to be grateful. I'm very grateful for a lot of things. Let me name 3 things I'm grateful for today. I am so grateful that I'm gaining weight. You know, I'm really grateful that I'm getting bigger because I think that's going to help me, you know, just be less stressed. Like when I go clothes shopping, I'll have a harder time fitting into things and I'll have a breakdown in the dressing room. And I'm very grateful for that. I think that's going to really help me have a better outlook on life. I'm grateful that I have no work. You know, I think it's very good to be sitting at home worrying about money and panicked and wondering how my children are going to eat. And I'm really grateful that my back feels like it's going out again. You know, I feel like that'll be good because if my back goes out and I have that pain in my leg that I get, that sciatica, then I don't have to leave the bed. I have an excuse because I really don't want to leave the bed. So I'll at least have an excuse where every time I move, I'll scream. So it'll be obvious. I really hope that you guys are doing great. I hope you're enjoying being home and not being able to see anyone or have physical contact or live any of your dreams. I hope everyone is really just feeling good. I love that you guys listen to my podcast. More and more people are reaching out. Please tell your friends if you still have friends, because I know like we haven't seen anyone. So I think a lot of you probably lost a lot of friends because you just haven't been in contact. But if you still are talking to your friends, tell them about this podcast, please. Relatively Sane. I have a Patreon account, patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. It's not a lot of money, guys. You can spend $5, $8 a month. Now I'm doing 2 podcasts a week. So you get early access to 2 podcasts. You get Q&As. I mean, so many videos. I've been putting up a lot of videos of my kids and stuff behind the scenes that you don't normally see. I put up a video of myself showering the other day, which I would never normally put up. I'm just joking that I would rather be burnt alive than put up a video of me showering. But follow us on Relatively Sane on Instagram, Twitter, jessicakirson.com, @JessieKirson on Instagram, and follow Virtual Comedy Network. They're amazing. And that's Jim Serpico, and that's the company that produces all of my stuff. Everything you've been seeing is through that company, and you should follow them too. And listen, we're all going to be okay. We're going to get really fat and really resentful, and we're all going to have a lot of fear of being around each other. If any of you cough near me, I'll fucking kill you. But I'm really excited for this podcast, and I can't wait for you to hear my guest. He's incredible, and I'm so excited. Here is Adam Ferrara. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Relatively Sane. I'm here with my very close friend who I adore, Adam Ferrara.
Hey, baby. How are you?
I'm good. So Adam and I are obviously doing this over Zoom. Mm-hmm. And basically, it's so weird to not sit in the same room as people and do a podcast. Do you think that's weird for you with your podcast?
Yeah. Absolutely, because there's always that delay and that latency in there. So sometimes you're stepping on each other on the end of the sentences. And more importantly, is when we're confessional accounts, but I think we're instinct people. You know, like we can feel an audience, read an audience, and I think that's what drives us. So that human connection, that being in close proximity with somebody, I think is we have spidey sense when this is kind of antiseptic. So it is a little awkward and takes some getting used to.
It is awkward, and I'm basically doing this from my bed. Some people set up like you have you guys need to watch this on YouTube because Adam has this incredible scene behind him, which I thought was real. Now it's obvious because when you move, there's a shadow. That's hysterical.
Yeah, I move like that. Yeah, I have you thought I was in London. This is the exterior of Abbey Road Studio.
Yeah, it's so cool. I thought you were sitting on the stairs somewhere.
Yeah, this is, I made this little studio at my house, and I'm a big Beatles fan. So I have the exterior of Abbey Road Studio, and there's that famous picture when they did the Abbey Road album, they were all sitting on the steps.
Yes.
So I thought it would be cool. And now that I got it set up, I'm like, okay, you either like it or you just think I'm outside. You either like it or you think I'm on Sesame Street, one or the other.
No, I love it. I love that I'm just sitting in my bed. Like my hair is up. The thing is, I don't really give a shit what I look like or what about anything anymore. Like I was doing a video the other day, you're going to love this. And I did like a black woman character.
Right.
And I said, if anyone is offended by this, block me, delete me. Like at this point, if you're upset because I'm doing the voice of a black woman, then we have problem. Like there's a virus going on. You can't leave your house. Like,
this is what you're going to choose to get upset about.
Right. This is not that big of a deal. So basically, I'm very comfortable in my bed. I wish I could be in my bed 24 hours a day. So I'm just doing my podcast from my bed.
That's great. I used to think that, first of all, I'm rested. I think I caught up on like 20 years worth of sleep with all this.
Have you been sleeping a lot?
I've been sleeping a lot, but now it's at the point where, okay, enough. I got to do something,
Yeah.
It's I'm getting twitchy. I'm pretty much like Thursdays roll around and my ass wants to get on a plane.
Right.
That's what we're used to traveling, and I'm driving my wife insane.
In what way? Like, is she stop talking?
I pace a lot. I have a lot of energy, so I think I'm driving her insane because I know my wife loves me, Jess, because there's no money.
Yeah, but you're so cute, so that helps. Like if you weren't good looking and there was no money, that's a very big something's wrong with her.
But I need to get out. I need to. I remember when I would come home from the road. Because we come home like marauders. You come home, you still got the road adrenaline. You just got off a plane, and you're on for 2 days. You're home, so you want to do your laundry. You want to say hello. You want to get it all in before you got to go out again.
Right.
And my wife was like, "Okay, I'm going to think of yourself like a fish. I just bought you at the pet store. I'm going to put you in this little bag and then float you in the aquarium to acclimate you to the house." So.
I'm also laughing because when you first started doing her voice, I thought she was an old Asian woman. I swear to God. I think you'd be like, you should think of yourself like fish. You're in a bag. And that's literally what it sounded like at first. And I'm like, you're married to an old Asian woman? Because I never met your wife.
Yes, I have the Beatles thing really bad. I married Yoko. It was funny because when this was my wife was a little upset because when I first started doing her, because we're pretty much the same artistically. We're confessional comics, and there's characters in our lives, and we do voices,
right?
And we're willing to expose the things that scare us. So when I started doing my wife, when she entered my life as my girlfriend, and I started incorporating her into the act and everything, I only had the female voice I had sounded like my mother or people from New York. And my wife wasn't from New York. Apparently, my wife's from Tokyo, and I didn't know.
Is your wife from the Wuhan market?
Yes, my wife's all right. She ate the bat. I'm sorry.
She started this whole fucking.
She was the one. Bat with a side of aardvark. This is what happened.
I didn't mean to eat bat. Now everyone die.
Picturing you with an old Asian woman is hysterical. It's like picturing me with like, I don't even, that was my computer. I don't even know, what is it like, what would be the craziest person you would picture me with?
A guy.
But what kind of guy? Like what would be nuts? An old Asian man would be insane.
An old Asian man would be insane. You know what? An old, partially deaf Asian man. So you would have to yell in his good ear. He'd be like, Hanno! Hanno! Halle! No eat bat! No eat bat! Bed! Bat! Bed!
You sound like my father
Yeah?
on a good day. Yeah.
On a good
Um, you're bad.
Yeah.
You're bad guy.
Bad is bad. Thank you for that, for coaxing me into that borderline offensive accent.
No, it was okay. It wasn't that
Yeah.
bad. Plus,
Wasn't
you
bad.
didn't say anything like "clean my shirt" or do my nails, something like that.
Count with beads.
Yeah. So, what? Tell everyone where you grew up.
I grew up on I was born in Queens and I was raised on Long Island.
Where on Long
the day
Island?
I was raised in Huntington, Long Island, right over the Nassau-Suffolk border.
Mm-hmm.
But I was born in Queens, and I remember I was very, very young when we left. But we took that Queens mentality out to Long Island because it was the great suburbs, when I was a kid. I remember my father. I said, "How come we left Queens?" He's like, "Because the neighborhood was changing."
I love that the neighborhood was changing.
Neighborhood was changing. And that's all he said. He
Yeah,
never
no,
went any further.
Yeah.
He never went, "I was changing." Okay.
They
Yeah.
said, yeah, changing. A lot of people coming in.
changing.
A lot of people coming in.
I'm not saying why. I'm just saying we're leaving. That's all I'm saying.
I
Because
totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because they're very insulated, my parents. Like and my grandmother, I never knew this. My grandmother had a brownstone in the village.
What?
And yeah, she did. When she was a girl, she grew up in a brownstone, and they sold it all. They moved out, and
wow.
My grandmother's and my father's generation, they couldn't wait to get out of New York City, and I couldn't wait to get back in.
Right. Of
The
course.
biggest thing I did was I bought an apartment. I had a TV show. One of my first TV shows. I had a little money in my pocket. I said, "Well, let me buy an apartment before I gamble this away." So I bought an apartment, and I remember telling my dad and everything. And it was one of those things that your parents want you to be happy. They want to be happy for you, and they want you to be happy, but they don't agree with your choice. It's like when you bring home someone that you're dating, and you want them, and you meet them. Your parents meet them for the first time.
Yeah.
You know you're in trouble when they leave and go. So, as long as you're happy. As long as you're happy.
Yeah, she was nice,
Yeah, you get that. And then you hear this muffled through the wall.
It's his life, Joe. It's his life. You gotta let him lead it. I'm not saying that, Louise. I'm saying the neighborhood's changing. That's all I'm saying.
The neighborhood's changing. That's a good, that's a good title for your next special.
Yeah, the neighborhood's changing. But being in New York City, you're a more rounded person. I mean, because you're just, first of all, the flow and the stream and the pulse of the city, you're either going to keep up or you're going to die.
That's true.
And I think that urgency of existence in the city makes it, you get a priority system very quickly because look, I don't have time to hate. I don't have time to judge anybody else. Someone's going to take my fucking cab. I don't care what color you are. Get out of you're in my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know. I love New York so much. I really do. It's such a great place.
I'm a better comic in New York.
Yeah.
I'm in California now. I'm at the house. I still got my apartment in the village, but I got the house here. But I'm a better comic in New York. One, there's more stage time.
A lot more.
Yeah. And there's more inspiration, there's not, and there's more connection. There's more connection and mingling with people, which is not good nowadays.
No, stay home. You gotta
stay home.
Stay home.
And if you got it, wash it.
I know what my grandmother would be saying. She'd be like,
I don't know if the cleaning lady should come over. I don't know where she's been, but
my mother did that.
Yeah.
My mother said, I spoke to my mother this morning. Adam, I canceled the girl. I can't take
the girl. I talk about that in my act. She says the girl.
Yeah. The girl, yeah.
The best.
Yeah,
I'm like, the girl's 65 and owns a home, but okay, just keep calling her the girl.
The girl has 3 kids. The girl.
Yeah, the girl has life insurance.
Yeah. My mother's I got her in one of those 55 and over communities, with the guard.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because she can't be left.
Where is she? In New York or Florida?
No, she's on the east end of Long Island. I told her to go to Florida. My dad passed away right, but before my dad passed, they were going to retire, and they were going to sell the house. It was a big house. They didn't need it, the whole thing. So I said, "Why don't you guys go to Florida? We're not old, okay?
Right?
Where are you going to go? Yeah, where are you going to go then? Mount Sinai." I go, "Ma, that's Old Testament." She's way out east on Long Island with the guard.
That's good though. Wait, so your parents stayed together?
Oh yeah.
Had a good marriage?
Yeah, I They did. They not only lived together, they worked together.
Oh,
Jess,
what they do?
My father did kitchens and bathrooms. My grandfather was a plumber in Queens, right? And my father wanted to elevate the business because my father was very handy with tools and stuff. So he wanted to elevate the business. He wanted to be an inventor. You know, he ran a garage when he was 19 years old, and because he was mechanical, he could fix things. So he went into the business, the plumbing business, because my uncle and my father went to because my grandfather needed a little help with the business. He was getting older. So my father tried to elevate it, and my other uncle, I guess, just wanted to keep it the way it was. So he broke off on his own. He was like Paul McCartney. You know, he came out on his own.
Yeah.
With my mother, and they came out to Long Island, and they started a business. That my father did kitchens and bathrooms, and he got into the design part of it. So it was all custom kitchens and bathrooms.
nice.
My mother learned how to decorate. My mother went to class and learned how to be a designer. So it was a one-stop shop. But my mother was decorating, you know, like a 60-year-old woman. Every kitchen looked like Elvis would cook there, you know?
Right.
You know, you want to splash of color. That's why we have the Mexican guys with the big hats. Okay, Mom. Maybe remove that tile from the kitchen for these people.
There needs to be a lot of room for the Tupperware.
This is called a lazy Susan. You put your pots in here and it spins around. It's freaking beautiful, ain't it?
Why is it called a lazy Susan?
I guess Susan was an underachiever.
Poor Susan.
Yeah, it was that thing. We open it up and it goes around. That's what they call it. Yeah,
those are great.
Yeah, we had that, and so my father would design everything, and my mother and father all worked together, and the business was down the block from the house.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so the house was here. You go across a main street, and there was the business down in a little shopping district.
And what about siblings? Did you have siblings?
I have two brothers. Yeah, I have two brothers that are both chefs. So the thing that. Yeah, here's the thing that always got me is my father was very mechanical, and I worked in the business since I was a kid. And I grew up in an Italian-Jewish neighborhood. And you could tell we didn't fit, you know, because all my friends were Jewish kids, and they went to camp, and I went to work. You know, my father went, "You're out of school?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to do arts and crafts? Take this hammer, knock that bathroom out. You can make a birdhouse later."
Yeah.
Yeah. So... that's the neighborhood I grew up in, but we were talking before. It's the same thing. Italian and Jews. It's culturally, it's the same.
It is the same. It really is. But you know what? It's sounding to me like when I'm speaking to you, like it's like this leave it to Beaver kind of household. Like, was it? Did everyone just kind of get along? Like, were you a happy kid?
No.
Yeah.
No, there was a lot of yelling. A lot of, it was loud, but no one was saying anything. You know, because you don't talk about your feelings.
That is so funny. Like, so they would just be screaming to like bring
the drama of it all.
Yeah.
Every moment was a crisis.
I love that so much.
Yes, every moment and that's why the emotional level was up here, and it was always, I'm not yelling. You know, my father would be like, never let anyone outside this house know what we talk about. I'm like, the windows are open and you're screaming. They know.
Never let anyone know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the big secret? Look, Uncle Louie's a drunk. He's passed out in their bushes. This is not a secret.
He's outside.
He's outside. No shirt on, sleeping in the ivy. Okay?
Wait, so where are you in the order? Are you the baby?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
I'm the oldest. I have two younger brothers. I'm the oldest, and I never fit in because I don't have the mechanical gene my father has, and I come from a long line of guys that can just fix everything. My father built my house. He built the house we live because he bought the house. He bought a corner unit, and that's what he did for a living. And there was a fearlessness my dad had. We had a circular driveway. We didn't have it when we bought the house. We just had a lawn. And my father wanted a circular driveway. And my mother thought it was because he wanted to be fancy. My father would say, it's because I don't want to back up. Okay.
I don't want to back up.
I'm not backing up. I'm driving in. I'm driving out. So I come home from school one day. The bus drops us off. And here's the other thing about the bus stop. And my dad is just as a presence. My bus stop was up the block, and my mother was very nervous about us walking up the block to get on the bus. So my father didn't fill out a form. He didn't go to school to change everything. He pulled the bus driver aside. He goes, "Come here, pick up these kids in front of my house." But sir, that's not the bus stop. That's where the bus stops now. You understand me?
That's the bus stop now. Yeah.
That was it. There was no form, no nothing. So next, the driver picked up, hello. You know, the driver was terrified. And my father, the bus driver was like, you want to drive? Whatever you want to do, kid, it's fine.
Yeah,
so,
just don't break my legs.
Yeah, so the bus would stop at the corner of my house. I come home one day, and there's a bulldozer cutting the front lawn. And my father's sitting on this little bulldozer like Fred Flintstone. And I got off the bus. I ran. I threw my books down. I jumped on the bulldozer with my dad, and he's cutting the driveway. He's cutting. He's leveling it. He's cutting it. Yeah, and I'm having the greatest time. And that night at dinner, I'm sitting there, and at the end of the meal, I go, Pop, where'd you learn how to drive a bulldozer? And it was after dinner, so he had his Lucky and his coffee. He went, what learn? I rented a bulldozer. I cut a driveway. That was it.
You never learned.
There was no learning. There was no nothing. Give me that machine. I'm going to do this.
Was he a soft guy too, or just like tough all the time? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he had a presence about him and a very caring nature for other people. At the end of my podcast, Jessica, I always say, I close every podcast by saying, life is hard. Take it easy on yourself.
Yeah.
The pod is ended. Go in peace.
Yeah.
Because my father would always. He taught me forgiveness. He said, look, you can't hang on to shit. He goes, the problem with us is we hang on to stuff. You got to let it go. People fuck up, all right? You're going to fuck up. How do you want to be treated when you fuck up? You can't corner people. You got to let them go. And
where do you think he learned that? That's such a, I mean, that's a beautiful, it's perfect advice, but where do you think he learned that?
I think he learned it. I don't think he learned it. I think he experienced the other part of it, because when my dad was a little bit different from everyone else in the family. They were hard people, but my dad had this heart, but he was a physically big presence. My dad was a boiler with a head. You know, he's just this big man, but he had this softness and this kindness for other people. He hated bullies, and because he was a large man, he would go around, and when the bullies were picking on people, he would straighten the bullies out. He goes, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea you yell at that little kid. What do you think?
Oh, he seems like he was such a great guy.
Yeah, one of the fondest memories I have, just like I said, my father's shop was down the block from the house, and everyone knew everybody in our neighborhood growing up. It was an Italian Jewish neighborhood, and everyone knew everybody. My Aunt Carol owned the deli, Kenny owned the pharmacy. I had to get on a train and go to the next town to buy cigarettes and condoms when I was 15 years old. Because they would have told my father.
That's amazing, right? You had to do it out of the, go out of the area.
I was 9 years old. I was allowed to buy cigarettes because Kenny knew what my father smoked. He would give me, and it was like, you know, it was, I don't know, 75 cents for a pack of Luckies. He would send me around the corner with the money. He goes, go give this to Kenny, come back. And he would bring him back cigarettes. Once I tried to buy Marlboros, my Kenny goes, get out of here. Your father don't smoke Marlboros. Okay.
Yeah, life was different then. My God. Yeah. It's so.
But I remember the one thing about my dad was at the end of the day, because it was in his shop was in the shopping center, and we knew everybody in the shopping center. Everybody looked out for everybody. And at the end of the day, like 4 o'clock, the guys would come in off the trucks, and I'd come home. Whoever I was helping, my Uncle Tony, whoever I was helping at the time, you come back, and everyone says goodbye at the end of the day. And the people up in the neighborhood would come down and bring my father coffee, light, no sugar. Bring him a cup of coffee, sit there, and they would just tell my father their problems.
Aww.
Yeah, he would light a cigarette. I remember sitting in the corner playing with a 1/2-inch pipe cutter and watching these adults just pour their hearts out. And my father just looked at him going, all right, look, here's what you need to do.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
Yeah. He was Lucy in the Peanuts. The doctor is in. That was my father.
That's so how did they feel? What made you become a comedian? I mean, I know you've been asked that so many times, but
but we all are. But it's I was good at it.
Yeah.
We're all asked that question, but I was good at it. I wanted to always I always made people laugh. And I knew that making my father laugh was how I fit into the family, because I couldn't do the work that they did. You know, he couldn't send me out to lead a job. You know, I couldn't go out and I couldn't put a shower body in. I didn't have the skill. You know, I could pick up the tools. I could do a little bit here, but I didn't have the skill to lead a job. So I always felt less than. I would always be with my father. I couldn't work on cars, even though I love cars. I can't fix them. You know, I know I can hold the light. That's what my job was. So when I started realizing I could make people laugh, and I saw my father's stressed face go away when I would make him laugh, I went, oh, That's how I can contribute.
That's beautiful.
That's how I can help.
Yeah.
And when I went on stage, my father gave me permission to do it. He came down, open mic night, July 13th, 1988, East Side Comedy Club on Long Island.
Holy shit, 1988.
88, yeah. You know, you kids with the internet.
Crazy.
So-
I started in 99. I've been doing it 21 years. So you've been doing it how many?
Yeah. I'm in country over 30 years.
Oh my God. Crazy.
But my open mic, my mother told everybody in the neighborhood. They all came. The whole neighborhood was there. So I had to be funny quick. And when I got done doing that, I went back to the shop, and I remember looking at my father. My father looked up at me and said, he looked at me like he's never looked at me before, like, oh, that's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Pop, I want to do this. And he took a long drag of the luck. He says, do it now. He goes, do it now before your life gets complicated.
Wow.
And give it everything you got.
Oh.
It's the worst feeling in the world. One day you're going to wake up and there's going to be an old man looking back at you.
Yeah.
And you don't want to think if I only tried a little bit harder. My dad passed away, and it does hurt like hell. And there's a reason, I think, because I just did Eddie at the Improv, Eddie's podcast out here. And we ended up talking about my dad. So there's something in the air.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, it was a lot of it. A lot of it comes back to me as a person, but a lot of it comes back to it just wants to come out. I will give you this little piece of advice. It's going to hurt like hell. Allow yourself to be hurt. Allow yourself to be strong. It's going to pop up at the weirdest times. I remember once I was on a...
It does. Like I heard a James Taylor song and I lost it because my father loves James Taylor.
Yeah. My father, when I remember once when it popped up for me, I punched James Taylor. I was like, I don't know why. I'm going to punch James Taylor. My father wants me to do this. No, I punched...
You assaulted yeah.
I got into a rent-a-car and something happened. It was the ding of the car, the sound of the motor, something, the smell. I don't know what triggered this response, but I just started sobbing. And I was all by myself, and I started just punching the headliner.
Yeah.
Just punching the roof of the car. I broke the dome light, and
I get it.
It comes out that way. So I would encourage you to get yourself in a safe environment and let it out when it comes, because what is going to happen is the edge is dull on the pain. My experience, Jess, the edges is going to dull on the pain, and you're going to feel like you lost a part of you, but you're going to gain space and awareness that you didn't have before, because what I learned was I no longer have to play that role of feeling less than and searching for his approval now that he's gone.
Do you feel like that? Because, it's interesting. Some people, this is sad. And I know I'll end up like you, more like you, but some people never, ever let that go, even when their parent goes. It's so interesting. Like they continue to struggle with that the rest of their lives, even though the parent isn't alive anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty courageous to process grief.
Yeah.
To allow yourself to feel the pain and to allow yourself to realize that this is change. Change is going to happen whether you participate or not.
I know.
So if you don't participate, you're the same guy. And if you do participate, you can grow a little bit more, I think.
Do you feel like you're complete? Like, did you feel at the time that you were complete with him? Like, did you feel like there's things you wish you had said?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of regret of things I should have said. I'm very grateful he got to know my wife.
Yeah.
Before he died. He got to know my wife before he died. And I'm very grateful I got to spend the time with him. I've learned to let go of the regret of things I should have done.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Also, everything happens for a reason. Like, I don't know if like whatever we think we're supposed to be doing is always what should happen anyway.
Well, here's the thing that helped me is everything I think I was supposed to be doing, I realized, what the fuck do I know?
Right.
I've been wrong so many times, and it's felt just like this, So it's like,
yeah, I always thought I knew so much, and then I realized I know nothing. I really don't know a lot.
No, especially with all the conditions we have now, you realize how fragile everything is and how no control we have.
I know. It's that quote. You know what that quote I love is, make plans and God laughs. I say that on the podcast a lot, but it's really true. Like, who would have thought this was going to happen? I mean, it's insane.
No.
People have all these plans and regrets and all this, and it's like now look, none of it is happening.
Yeah. Now what?
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon members for supporting the podcast.
All right, hold up. Could you take a little off the P's? You're hitting them too hard. Not action.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon members for supporting the podcast.
Hold on. Now you're whispering Patreon. Is there a reason you're whispering?
Well, you said to take the
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
You ready? Action.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon member.
Now you got to pause.
For those of you who don't know, Patreon members, is that okay?
It was perfect. Why'd you stop?
Oh, okay. Patreon members.
Cut. Let's go back to the beginning.
Thank you
And action.
Thank you so much to all my Patreon members for supporting the podcast. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast, ad-free episodes, and access to monthly live streams where we talk more about...
All right, let's take it back to the beginning. That was perfect. Do it exactly like that.
I just did it well, though, but why are you starting over? Thank you so much to all of my patron...
Cut. Why are you screaming?
Because I'm just trying to get through this.
Action.
Thank you so much to all of
Action.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon members. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast.
Perfect. Keep going.
There's so many P's.
Keep going. Keep going.
Ad-free episodes.
You could cut this out, right?
For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast, ad-free episodes, and access to monthly live streams where we talk more about being relatively sane.
Hold up. Did we agree on monthly live streams?
Yes, you told me I should do them because it'll get more members.
I don't know how to do a monthly live stream.
Don't you just talk in your phone?
We'll figure it out. Come on, let's get through this. We have to go. We should speed this up.
All right. Thank you so much to all my Patreon members for supporting this podcast. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast, ad-free episodes, and access to monthly live streams. We don't know what that is, but whatever, where we talk about being relatively sane. If you want to join our fantastic community that is so corny, go to patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. That's patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. That's Patreon.
I think you said patriot.com.
Go to patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. That's patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. Patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. Thanks again.
And cut. That's a wrap.
Ugh. Yeah.
I will tell you one thing for me that helped, and a change that I experienced when my dad died was, and the word, I struggled a long time with the word surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, what the fuck? You don't surrender. Get the fuck out of here. Take no prisoners. If it doesn't fit, get a bigger hammer,
Mm-hmm.
But it's not surrendering to me. What helped me was my dad passed away and I felt so helpless to do anything. He died in my arms. He died. He went out in a chair with my whole family around him. And there was the death rattle and I kissed his head and I said, it don't hurt no more, Pop. And so that's the way he went out. And I realized the loss of control and whatever I thought I was holding on to as what I thought was my identity was like, after I got through the pain, I'm like, surrender for me now became, I'm not surrendering who I am or the ideals I have. I'm surrendering to what is. My father's dead. That's it. That's the end of that part of my life.
Yeah.
I can't bring him back, can't control what happened. So I have to surrender to what is, the circumstances. It's like we said before, this pandemic is here. Here's a big bowl of chicken shit. Start making chicken salad.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, basically, wait, how long ago did he pass?
2010.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm still talking about it. But I'm talking about it from a healthier place now.
Oh, I'm sure it changes all the time. And then again, like, I'm sure things bring it up. Like, we're talking about it now.
Yeah. And like I said, I was talking on Eddie's podcast, and I remember I was talking about it. It naturally comes through me, and I don't know why. I think somebody needs to hear something. So that was the other part of surrender. It's like, I want to do this, this, and this. And one of the things that helped me in my podcast is I would, even in your interview, and first of all, thank you for doing my podcast.
Of course.
I had structured stuff I wanted to ask you, and then when the conversation takes off, that's where we're going.
And I love that. Because some are so structured that it's like, oh my God, we don't have to talk about this. Yeah. It can go wherever it needs to go naturally. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting thing that you said he met your girlfriend at the time. Mm-hmm. So you hadn't been married yet.
No,
right?
I've never married before, but I met my girlfriend. I told her I was going to marry, and this is one of the things I got. See that ring?
Yeah.
My mother gave that ring to my father when they got engaged.
Oh.
So when he passed away, I got the ring, and I used it as my wedding ring. So now it's my wedding ring.
I love that. I noticed your ring. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, if my mother would have given me an engagement ring, I would have saved a fortune.
I know, really. Who did
Fuck,
that go
I got
to?
killed. I got killed.
That's a big one. I know, especially because you need to get it. You need to get a big one so that you look like a more successful person.
Oh yeah, and my wife is stunning. I'm batting over my head, so I knew I had to get a big. I need people to think I have money.
That's what I'm saying. If you get them a big ring, it looks like you have a lot more money than you have. That's why you have to get. Yeah,
I got nothing. That's why I know she loves me. There's no fucking money.
Where'd you meet her?
I met her on a movie set, and the cool thing about it was. We had no scenes together because those relationships, they never work because anytime you meet somebody at work, especially in our business, you're in heightened emotional circumstances and you're protected from the rest of the world. So it's not real life. You're playing, you're playing movie, that kind of stuff. So I met her on this movie. And then when I came out to LA, I was house sitting for, Jack Kenny. He wrote Book of Daniel.
Yeah, that name is so familiar.
Yeah, he's a TV writer. So I was staying at his house. He had me house sitting. Him and his husband, Michael, were in New York. And had a stunning mansion up by the Greek Theater. And my wife was working on this movie, and the director wanted to meet me, so she had to drop off a script. So I called Jack, and I said, what's the policy? Can I have a girl over the house? And Jack goes, honey, tell her it's your house.
That's perfect.
I said, yeah, but how am I going to explain the picture of all the gay men in the theater memorabilia?
Right.
How's that going to get me laid?
Right. There's a huge ass on the wall in front of you.
You know what he had? You opened up the door and he had a beam and a player piano would start playing.
Oh, that's the gayest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Why don't you just hire Rip Taylor to throw confetti on you when you walk in?
That's really, oh, God.
That's a category of gay.
Yeah, that's like Richard Simmons comes out and does a dance. It's a whole thing. So she came over?
She came over, and there was I was very attracted to her, and we're talking and everything, and the house is stunning. And all of a sudden she gets up and she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I have to, being the Asian woman she is. Oh, I'm so
sorry. I have to take my shoe off and pray.
She goes, I'm so sorry. I have to leave. I have an online poetry class. And that was the excuse. So in my head, I'm thinking, this
now
woman.
She sounds deaf.
Now she sounds deaf.
I have to leave. I have a poetry class. I can't hear you.
But she said she had an online poetry class. I'm thinking, not only does this woman not like me, she thinks I'm a fucking idiot. And
yeah, that sounds so unbelievable. She's like, I have to go fly in the air to. Yeah.
Yes. What do you have to? Excuse me, I have to fight crime. And she just leaves. So later she came back and later she said, I was so attracted to you, I got nervous and I had to get out of there.
Oh, that's.
And I was like,
cute.
and that's what you came up with? Why don't you say, I'm so sorry, I'm having a seizure? Something, just
something
or fake
believable.
a seizure. Go down, start shaking. I would have got it
on your knees. I'm joking.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
that's sweet that she said that.
Yeah.
So you guys had that instant connection.
I did, yeah. I remember. I didn't have it on the movie set because I wasn't in the frame of mind, but I had it when I saw her. I remember thinking, "That's mine."
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, "Nah, mine."
Did you have commitment stuff before that? Like, did you ever think you'd get married?
No, I thought I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I thought, I guess I don't get it. I guess, storybooks are bullshit. I don't get it. I was emotionally connected to other people and I felt, and I was a very good boyfriend. Apparently I'm a serial monogamist, but when I met my wife, I was aware of the difference between have to and want to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
That you're kind of like, I feel like so many people get forced into a marriage.
Especially in India.
Well,
Listen,
in her family too, a lot of Asian people have to get forced into marriages. with their bound feet.
Yeah. Well, why do I have to marry him? So his father won't invade our father's land. Shut up. Put on the dress.
I am so grateful that because Orthodox people do that too. You're marrying this girl from the neighborhood. I don't understand. Supposedly those marriages work out a lot, but I think just because they just pray and they don't, I think the whole thing is just praying, to be honest with you.
Or kidnapping. Pick one.
Yeah.
How'd you meet your wife? How did you meet your wife?
Through friends. We met through friends. We were both in like the end of our other relationships. And then we just started, like, we kind of went to each other for comfort and would talk because we knew each other's exes.
Right.
So we just started like becoming friends, and that's kind of how it started. I never liked dating. I am not a player. I never like went to, I don't know how to hit on people. I never know when someone was hitting on me.
You too? I have no idea. My wife knows. Not only does my wife know when someone's hitting she can't believe that I don't know. I'm like, when did you, what idea? I'm an idiot. You knew that when you married me. What makes you think I got smart now that I know this woman's was hitting? I have no idea
I can see you not knowing at all if someone's hitting on you, just from knowing you as much as I do. I can totally, and I'm the same way. Like someone used to say to me years ago, "Oh my God, I've had a crush on." I'm like, "What?
Yeah,
a crush on me? You thought I was disgusting."
Yeah, no clue. I have no clue. I'm like a guy that has the best of intention who suffered a head wound. I have no clue about what goes on as far as other people's motives and intentions. You know, I don't get it.
Well, what has been your feeling about being around male comic? Because you are like a nice guy. You come from a good family. Parents stayed together. How has it been because a lot of comics, obviously male comics have, and female comics, but male comics have like relationship stuff. They fuck around a lot. They're with a different girl every night. Like, was that ever? Did you? I did
okay. Yeah, I did okay.
I could see that, but
I did. But I never. It wasn't. I started playing the guitar to get girls, you know, and then I realized I did. I played bar band guitar, which means I know the beginning of every good song, and then when it gets tough, I gotta put this down. Yeah, and then when I started doing comedy, you still want to get girls, and a lot of them, were the waitresses that worked there and the staff and everything. But I never had it wasn't as fulfilling for me as getting the laugh. I mean, it was great to get girls, and I did okay, and I had my share of it. But I was more concerned about it wasn't healing anything for me, Yeah. I always felt beholden to other people's feelings if I entered into that situation, where comedy felt healing to me. I felt more at home on stage, and there was always I always remember the don't shit where you eat.
Yes. Big thing.
So I did okay, but as far as meeting women and stuff, I was very monogamous because I was always so grateful that someone wanted to hang out with me, and I liked this person and they liked me back, and I always had that. We were talking before. We were talking about that position of not providing, but to be. Not to disappoint. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally understand it. Do you feel like when you get a huge, applause and laughter from the audience, do you feel like it fills something in you? Like you do?
And I think it does.
What do you feel when that happens?
It's a current. You get the current because after we've been in country for so long, me and you, that it comes through me.
Yeah.
And I've learned I can get out of my own way on stage. I can be the best version of me is when it's coming through me. And when it's providing a service of whatever's bothering you, I'm going to take it away for this hour.
Oh, that's why you're so funny. I'm telling you, and I know you're going to understand this more than anyone, but I've been saying this for so many years. I just said it in an interview the other day. I feel like comics are either givers or takers, and I only laugh at the givers.
Oh, that's great. That's a great way of putting it.
I only laugh at the ones who really are doing it to help someone, and it's not about them. And because there are comics, as you know, that go up and they can kill it. They can kill and they can be famous and they can fill arenas. Sure. but I don't laugh at them because I know it's about them trying to feed their own ego, and it's not to do service, which I feel like is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, even like in this time, what we're doing now is providing content, putting out what can we do in the face of it. That's what we can do.
Yeah, this is all to help people laugh a little bit.
There's a and I think when you said, what do I get out of it? I think that's the satisfying nature of, I've done my job. I've used the tools I can. You don't want to die with your music in you, you know, but you got to be willing to give it away and realize that whatever energy you're putting out that gives away, there'll be more than enough to take care of what you need from it. Like holding on, grasping onto this thing isn't going to help serve anybody because it's a knot in the hose. You know, the water's got to flow.
I totally get that. Excuse me. I mean, I wanted to ask you this question because when I think back about my career, like working with De Niro and doing the Tonight Show, whatever it is, I'm like, oh my God, I've lived a good life. Like, how many people can say that they've done television? Like, do you think about that a lot? I think about
and you know, when I started doing the podcast, I'm like, oh, how the fuck am I? Because I wanted to do something that was, everyone has a podcast, and how is mine different? And I didn't want to, you know, just do what was out there before. So I wanted to communicate a feeling, because when I was a kid, the best night's sleeps I ever got when I was upstairs, a little boy, and I would listen to my mom and dad and their friends downstairs laughing. That was just a comforting feeling for me. So I set that's the feeling I wanted to communicate. So my podcast opens up with like 5-10 minutes talking about a subject, me, my wife, my two friends. Then we cut to a one-on-one interview that you graciously did with me. And then we, like any good group of friends, we talk about you when you leave. So
great.
There's another 10 minutes of a postmortem of that interview and what we heard and how it affects our lives.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. So in doing that, finding that construction and realizing, okay, I got to get guests. I put out the word. I called up my friends, and I could not believe how many people said, when? Of course, I'd love to.
Yeah.
You, all the people like Edie Falco, Jay Leno, Kevin James, all these people came up and said, sure, I could. Richard Hammond from the original Top Gear in UK, I spoke to him this morning in London, and I realized, wow, I did all this shit.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You created these relationships.
Let me ask you this. While we're doing it, do you have an awareness of while you're doing it? And can you accept while you're doing it? You're working with fucking De Niro. Could you take that in at the time?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I really got it when I saw him on all the talk shows saying my name. That's when I was like, wow. Okay, Robert De Niro just said my name on Kimmel, Fallon. It was crazy. That's when it hit me.
That same thing hit me. That awareness when I saw Leary say my name on TV and Edie Falco say my name on TV and saying that, oh, I love working with him. I'm like, who?
What's the best thing you ever did? Like, what was the most fun thing you ever did on television or movies? Because you've done so much stuff.
One of the most fun things is one of the earliest episodes of Top Gear. Might even been the first or second episode. I jumped a Cadillac about 40 feet in the air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. We were off-roading. The episode was the moonshine episode. So basically we buy cars and we got to outrun revenuers. And what they did when they were running moonshine is they would go into backwoods and trails and stuff. So my moonshine car was a 76 Coupe de Ville. Because listen to me, what else should I be driving?
Yeah, that's the hottest car there is. Yeah.
Huge, right? So the thing is huge. And we're on this dirt bike track trying to outrun these revenues. So there was a water hazard, and then there was this little ramp, like a dirt mound for dirt bikes. So I knew I had to carry a bunch of momentum through the water because this car would have got stuck. Because it's like it's thousands of pounds. So I go through the water, I'm nailing the gas, I come out of it, and I go up.
Whoa!
And all of a sudden, it got real quiet for a long time. And I'm up in the air, and this thing is sailing through the air. I'm looking down, and time is like stopping, Jessica. And we're shooting in North Carolina, and way off in the woods, I hear, "Yeehaw!"
Oh,
boom! I hit the ground. You can see it online. It's called the Flying Coupe de Ville on YouTube. The car is bent.
Wow, I got to see that.
Yeah, so I got to jump a Cadillac. That was the funnest thing I ever got to do. I got to... they flew me to Germany. They gave me a new Lamborghini. They put me on the Autobahn, and they said, go.
Whoa. That's
I did
sick.
173 or something in a Lamborghini. Yeah, they gave me Top Gear was one of the most adventurous shows. I did 188 in a Ferrari F12 Berlinetta. I did, I got to do all this kind of stuff, and acting wise, I got to work with Edie. I mean, first
she's amazing.
When I was doing,
she was in the Comedian. She was in the movie with me. It's so crazy.
She was when I got to do stuff with Dennis. That was a great guy show to be on. I played a fire chief, and it was a lot of. It was like the army barracks, because I've known Dennis for years. We've done a bunch of stuff, and his trailer is always the barracks, and we're always in there. We always hang out. He's got a great open door policy, and we were all smoking then. So smoke is just billowing out. It looked like we elected a pope. Smoke is just billowing out.
Yeah.
And then but there was a certain amount of male energy of doing that. It was great to be in a gang. That was a fucking gang, that show.
Yeah. And
then when I went to do Nurse Jackie, it was pretty much just me and Edie because I played that part of her world.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a little harder. That was more courageous as an acting challenge because I had to be more vulnerable in that role. And I learned a great deal more about me in that role with Edie because she's such a good actor that you have to dig really deep to match her.
Yeah, she's incredible. She really is.
And I remember there was a moment where Frank, my character, had to apologize for Jackie. He was clearly wrong. He didn't pick up the phone. And the emotional turn was so quick that I had to put aside my bullshit because I wouldn't apologize that quick. It would take me a while to, and I had to put aside my bullshit and surrender to these circumstances and be truthful in that moment, in that period of time. And I left with like this feeling of, wow, I didn't know I had that in me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And to bring that back around with what you're about to embark on with your dad and everything, I will let you know that if you surrender to what is and allow yourself to be, there's going to be space there and you're going to discover a lot more yourself that you never knew you had, and it's going to come in real handy someday. I don't know how, I don't know when, but just trust what you're going through because I've been there.
I completely agree with you, and I believe in surrendering and that we're powerless, and you got to just sometimes put up your hands and say, I'm not in control, and whatever's supposed to happen is, and thank God we think like that because it makes life easier. It really does to think that way. And
like my mother processes grief by knitting. My father died in 2010. And I have more Afghans than Kabul right now because she's just
than Kabul.
Yeah, she doesn't. I think my mother doesn't want to process the grief because she feels like she's betraying my dad's memory.
I know a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah,
they're afraid to move on, or they have a hard time moving on because they feel like they're supposed to stay stuck. Or
this is how could I be disloyal by by growing?
That's very Italian.
Oh,
seems like. Yeah. Don't you think?
Yeah. That's huge. That's how could you be disloyal by growing? And you're not. You're just like, life is going to go on. How do you not grow? Italians we don't travel. They paint the basement red and green. They put another kitchen, then they live in the basement.
Or you go to the same place on a cruise every year.
That's it. Italians don't travel. Columbus had to go to Spain to get the boats.
You're right. So true. Well, I love you so much, Adam. I'm very impressed with how introspective you are and how you have work. I can always tell when I do the podcast or even just have a conversation with someone, sit around the Comedy Cellar and have a conversation. I can tell who's worked on themselves and who and in a minute. But you've done a lot of work and you sound really good. And if you ever get out of that house again, that prison.
Yes, I'm going to come. I'm going to give you a big hug.
Yeah, oh my God. I can't wait to give you a hug. I love you so much. You're so brilliant. Can you tell people what the podcast, where they can reach you online, all that stuff? Yeah.
Sure. It's the Adam Ferrara Podcast, 30 minutes you'll never get back. You can get it wherever you get your podcast. My friend Jessica Kirson is going to be on there. You can get me at Adam Ferrara on all the social media stuff. And I want to thank my friend Jessica for having me on. I love you, baby.
I want to thank you too. And I don't always say this, but people know when I say it, I really mean it. Like, that's true. Adam is hysterical. I mean, you have been an incredible comic since the day I first saw it. You're one of those people, and I'm not saying it just because everyone knows I don't always say this. But you're one of those people, like when I first saw you, when I first saw Brewer, when I first saw John Panette, like there's certain people I just was like, Holy shit. You are hysterical.
Oh,
So
thank
if you guys see that Adam is in your city or wherever you are, if we're ever let out again, you need, well, first of all, follow, of course, listen to the podcast, but go see Adam live because really you are unbelievably funny. Like, special, very special.
That's very kind of you. Thank you so much.
I love you, and thank you for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure.